So today I want to answer different questions that you guys asked both on Twitter and on YouTube. And I'll start off here on Twitter. First off, we have from Twilly Allen who says, why can't Rich Bisaccia have competent special teams? So the Packers and their special teams units for a very long time have been very below average, I would say, many different seasons. And there's been so many unfortunate moments where the Packers special teams units just give up terrible plays, terrible moments where, you have the punt block a few years back against the Niners in the playoffs. You have last year Keyshawn Nixon fumbling the ball on the opening kickoff against the Philadelphia Eagles. There are a lot more you could name as well, but unfortunately for a long time, the Packers have at times had different special teams blunders. And last week you have the Packers kick getting blocked with Jordan Morgan getting pushed back a little bit. The Browns defense blocking it. But when we look at the Packers and their decision to bring in Rich Bisaccia a few years back, he's now been with the Packers for 3 seasons. This is currently his 4th. He got an extension before the year, and now it has 2 years left on his deal, I believe. And if we look at the Packers in 2022, 2023, and 2024, they have not been a great special teams unit. There have been aspects of it that at times have been fine and very good when it comes to Keyshawn Nixon, especially returning kickoff returns in 2022 and 2023. But there are a lot of different areas where there's been a lot of struggles. If we look at penalties, which I think does give it a good indicator of just how disciplined you're playing on special teams, 2022 third most special teams penalties, 2023 second most special teams penalties, 2024 11th in special teams penalties. So that's 3rd, 2nd, and 11th in special teams penalties, which is not great. And while obviously a lot of it comes down to the players making mistakes, I think you also have to give the coordinator some blame as well. And then if you look at another stat I found here, punt return fumbles, the Packers in 2022 tied for the 7th most punt return fumbles at 4, 2023 second most punt return fumbles at 6, in 2023 tied for 3rd most punt return fumbles at 3. And so every year Rich Bisaccia has been here, the Packers punt returners have had issues holding onto the ball when it comes to these punt return units. And of course, Rich Bisaccia isn't out there catching these balls and holding on to them. But I do think that sometimes, that could mean that maybe they're not focusing as much as they should on, making sure people are holding on to the ball tightly, because to consistently be that high in punt return fumbles, a massive problem. Now, it's not all been bad. As I said, Keyshawn Nixon was very, very good when it came to kick returns in 2022 and 2023, making being an all-pro kick returner both of those seasons. But I just think that it hasn't been great special teams wise during Rich Bisaccia's 3 years. Now on to Mike Schumann, who says, should we be worried about the run game? The run game has not looked like it did last year, and I think a lot of that is the Packers' run blocking has not been good at all. They're currently 28th in ESPN run block win rate, so one of the worst run blocking units in the NFL when it comes to ESPN run block win rate. They're currently 27th in rush yards per play at 3.4, and last year they were one of the better teams in the league, up there a lot higher. I think they're close to like 4.7 yards per rush, I believe I saw earlier today. So I'd say right now through 3 weeks, I'm slightly concerned. Part of it has to do with Zach Tom being out, being injured. Other teams have stacked the box even more than they typically do, really trying to dare Jordan Love to pass it, which worked the first couple weeks, did not work this past week against the Browns because they got pressure so quickly. So I still think the Packers have a lot of talent when it comes to their running game, especially Josh Jacobs. But after 3 weeks, I'd say I'm slightly concerned. Now, if this continues week after week after week and we're sitting halfway through the season and it's still the same issues, that's where I'll start to become more than slightly concerned. Then from Raymond Hessel, who says, what was worse, Morgan's missed block, Love's interception, Golden out of bounds, Parsons offsides? I would probably say Love's interception, because if Love does not throw that interception, then the Packers would not have been in a position where they needed to go and kick a field goal. And so then the missed block the being pushed back Jordan Morgan on that kick wouldn't have mattered. So I'd probably say Love's interception, because that was just a really bad pick at a very, very bad time. You just can't have that happen. And then touching on Golden going out of bounds on that one play, I was pretty surprised in the moment, because it felt to me when he caught the pass, you're looking at the screen, you're thinking to yourself, man, if you just would have kept running straight, like it felt like he could have had time to come up the field and really, potentially score a touchdown there. Now, the momentum was taking him out of bounds, but it felt like there was a chance for him to at least attempt the run up the field. He decided to not do it. I don't think it's a big problem, but I was slightly perplexed by that one. Then here from the Lombardi Leap, who says, is Romeo Doubs capping this offense's potential because he's a schemed safety blanket for Love? Absolutely not. I think that Romeo Doubs is and has proven for the past couple seasons to be one of the better route runners in the NFL. And I think that he is a very important part of this offense. And I think that, I think it's good if you have a safety blanket, someone that Jordan Love can trust. Now, Jordan Love loves to spread the ball around because there are so many different weapons here in Green Bay. But I think that Doubs is one of the guys that he really has a lot of trust in. And so I do not think that Doubs is capping the offense's potential. Now here we have a few more. We have from God of Thunder 9379. In this loss against the Browns, we looked like the old defense. Do you think the defense will keep having these issues, or will we bounce back? Thanks, Luke, and God bless you, brother. Go Pack, go. Appreciate your question. I think the defense looked great this past game. I think that the loss was on the Packers' offense, their inability to really do anything most of the day. Now, the Packers in the final moments, they allowed them to get into field goal range, and I don't really blame the defense though in this game. They played a lights out game pretty much all day long, and that should have been a win for the Packers. So I'm very confident in what this defense can do, and I think they've proven to be one of, if not the very best defense in the NFL. Then from let's see here, Juddog4402, who says, I think Matthew Golden needs to get more targets. What do you think? Yeah, I think he does. I think that as time goes by, he's only been, three games into his rookie season. I feel that as time goes by, he will get more looks from Jordan Love because he was open a ton those first few weeks. And because the Packers have so many different weapons, Jordan Love likes to look other people's way a lot. And so I think that naturally, as he goes deeper and deeper into his rookie season, he'll get more looks. Now, I don't think he's going to suddenly take over at receiver and become like the main leading, getting a massive amount of the targets, because I think the Packers have shown they like to be able to spread the ball around, which I think can be a positive aspect to your offense because teams can't just shut down one guy and feel confident that day. So that's the answer there. Lucas Kreider, who says, should the Packers consider picking up C.J. Gardner-Johnson? So yes, he was just released from the Texans who traded for him. There seemed to be some potential issues. I saw reported from Aaron Wilson that he was upset with his role, and there was some more going on there. Didn't seem to be playing great early on there with the Texans, but I just don't think the Packers need to make a move for a safety. We're loaded at safety with Evan Williams and Xavier McKinney, so I just think would be an unnecessary move for the Packers. Then from Liam Pratt 8, when Watson comes back, is he wide receiver 1? I think when Watson comes back, he adds that speed element, which I think the Packers already have with someone like Matthew Golden, but he has that speed and that size. Do I think he comes in and becomes the number one target leader? No, I think that if what we saw the first few weeks, I think the Packers are going to continue to spread the ball out a lot, and I don't think that changes when Watson returns. Then finally from Joey101896, who says, you think Marshawn Lloyd plays this season? Yes, I do. He is currently on IR. He got a hamstring injury, which is why he is currently on IR. I would assume we'll see him at some point, and the question just becomes, can he stay healthy and not have another injury? Because unfortunately for him, from the moment he's gotten to Green Bay, just consistently has dealt with many different injuries. And I really want to be able to see what he can do being healthy for 8, 10, 12 games in a row, where you really can allow him to pick things up and sort of get into the rhythm, because I think that, he's a very, very talented player. We just have not gotten to see him. I do believe he'll play. Hopefully he'll get off the IR in the next couple weeks. We'll keep an eye on that. But thank you guys for all your questions. I appreciate it as always. I appreciate you guys watching the channel and everyone who subscribed. But that's all for today, and I'll see you guys next time.